Track Stars Formula 2 series. We are live from the circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona for the Track Stars Formula 2 Spanish Grand Prix. Joining me tonight in commentary is the one and only Spud P666. Good evening, Spud. How are you doing today?
Buenas noches a todos. Yes, we are here in Barcelona, here at the Circuit de Barcelona in Catalunya, where it is very well known, popular for the Spanish cathedral, as well as the famous football club here at Barcelona FC, where they've got the likes of such great players such as Lionel Messi as one of the greatest players of all time. But now we are on track and we're going to see who's the greatest F2 driver of all time tonight, as we get qualifying underway, where we've had our pre-qualification lobby set and we've had Mint Matt, Viper Z, Norm XC, Duran 50, Nightmare Walker, and Sir Slayer in the top lobby. So away they go into their pre-qualification. Ooh, what's going on here?
Looks like a red flag because Mint Matt glitched in the pit lane.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, so
well,
unfortunately there's a bit of a delay.
There goes my intro. Thanks, Jarman.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. That's all good. But yeah, so we are about to get ready for the main split TS2 coming up. So once again, we do have a few GT Sport issues, so that's not surprising, unfortunately. But we have our split 2 underway on the other end of the microphone, where we have the qualifiers outside of the top 6 for pre-qualifying. Leading the way, it is Magical Wax and DJ Fabri leading an Ice R Racing Intercontinental Esports Racing Team 1 and 2, with Budsy76, who is by signing him, and Spud P666 has signed Budsy76 to join the Total Mash Spuds Racing, left vacant by Coming For You, who has been promoted to the main series, as he's about to make a move on DJ Fabri into second place. Not quite yet. So he's been promoted. He's been signed up by myself and the team, vacating the seat left by Coming For You, who's moved on to the main series, with Bjorn Borgs Undies in 4th place, with Warpath 360 in 5th in the M&R Racing Team, with his teammate SS Boy right behind in 6th. Wex Scarlet for the Speed Demon in 7th, with SRF Hand rounding up the top 8 in the lobby. So lots of racing to go with these guys, but hopefully in the main split you guys are going to get ready soon enough.
Yeah, looks like everyone's jumping in very quickly, so hopefully that's a... oh no. And just as I said that, Highlander left the lobby, so looks like we might have a bit of a delay here.
Unlucky. Yep, unfortunately these things always happen, but hey ho, what can you do?
Yeah, so it looks like we've got the 14 in at the moment. Hopefully we can get Highlander back in very shortly and get this qualifying underway.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Barcelona is pretty much a very is a very featured track on the Formula 1 calendar, back since in 1991, where it was hosted as a racetrack, as a track for what was the 1992 Olympics, where it was actually used. The start-finish straight was used as a start-finish line for the time trial bike races back in 1992 in the Olympics. And since then, it's now been used as a racetrack where the likes of great races such as 2004 victory that Alonso won his first Spanish Grand Prix, followed up in 2013, where we had, even in 2012, we had unlikely winners such as Pastor Maldonado back in the Williams team, scoring his first win and his only win for Williams, and that was their first victory since back in the Juan Pablo Montoya days, back in the mid 2000s. And then a rookie in the name of, as we all know, Jarman, Max Verstappen, taking out his first victory in the Red Bull Racing outfit.
Yeah, of course. I think everyone remembers that race very well that watched it. Of course, Rosberg having the great start that he did, but was stuck in the wrong engine mode and coming under attack from Hamilton, and heading into turn 4, Hamilton just got into the grass trying to get past and took both the Mercedes out, and it opened the door for an unlikely winner in that race, and which happened in the form of Max Verstappen.
It was actually promoted, that race, making his debut in the Red Bull, because the then driver Danny Kvyat, for the Russian, had a bit of a interesting start to his season, where he being nicknamed the Torpedo in a while. So he had a bit of a not so great moment there, having only done 4 races, I believe it was, and then on his 5th race was demoted to Toro Rosso.
Yeah, obviously he wasn't having a terrible time, but yeah, just got caught up in a few accidents and saw him demoted as a result of that. But yeah, obviously was doing a good job the year before against Ricciardo. I think he even outscored Ricciardo on points that year.
In 2015 he did outscore Ricciardo. I believe it was only by just a couple of points. So he had the talent, but I believe Dr. Helmut Marko saw something else in Danny Kvyat and thought that he wasn't the future of Formula One. And despite him being very young at the age of 22 at the time, so he was a very young driver. So he even would have put him and Max Verstappen in the same car. But unfortunately, Danny Kvyat had to get the boot, and then came Max Verstappen. So who's been making headlines since his debut from 2016 to now, leading the championship come the Austria Grand Prix later on this evening, as we're about to get qualifying underway for the main TS2 split. I can tell you guys, before we get into qualifying, it is still Magical Wax leading the way ahead of Bjorn, so he's moved a couple of positions since I last called. DJ Fabri and Budsy is right behind in 4th, Warpath in 5th, SS Boy, Wex Scarlet, and SRF Han are way down the order in 6th, 7th and 8th place respectively.
Alright, so yeah, we're finally getting underway here with qualifying for the Spanish F2 Grand Prix here. So far this season we've had 4 different pole winners from our qualifying sessions, with JMX taking the pole at Dragon Trail, Broccolilli at the Red Bull Ring, Cloudy Dark Mist at Laguna Seca, and then Viper's Head last time out at Interlagos. So hopefully maybe tonight we can see a repeat pole winner here in either Broccolilli or Viper's Head. Or maybe someone else might take the show.
Well, we even saw a guy like Broccolilli. I believe has he taken 1 or 2 poles? Because I believe he was pole position back in Austria, but has he taken 1? Didn't he take 1 in Laguna Seca? Was that somebody else?
No, that was Cloudy Dark Mist.
Okay, yeah. All right, so yeah, I would definitely like to keep an eye on Broccolilli as well, because he's been showing great performance back in the TS2 and in the Formula Track Stars. So he's one to keep an eye on. He's a bit of an underdog. But I guess one driver that's a bit of an underdog as well is Cylon 96, who thought it was going to be such an easy cruise to an F2 championship. But as you see from these pre-qualifying lobbies, anything can happen, and we're seeing top 6 drivers back in that lobby, back in the lobby. And yeah, they're causing trouble for Cylon 96's cars for the championship. Yeah,
of course, it's probably not something to get too caught up over, but like the guys like Jono Stan, Viper Z, they've only done 1 round so far, so they've got to catch up an extra round once the drop rounds are put into place. So it may still be a slight cruise for.
2, though.
No, he's only done 1.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember if he was in Interlagos or not.
Yeah, he won at Interlagos.
Yeah.
But yeah, before
so this is the second round. Yeah.
This is the second round here, so.
Yeah.
Following along with Broccolilli at the moment, who's coming down to turn 10.
So this is the old turn 10, where it was restructured back in 2020 to make it a little bit easier for an overtaking. So they used that extension track where they used the MotoGP circuit. So they're using that bit of extension there. But I think after this year's Formula One Grand Prix, I don't think it did much.
No, I think there's a few conversations going on between the Catalunya track management about maybe changing it up again.
Exactly, as we see Broccoli come across the line for his first fly. It's a 129.1. What is Mid-Matt, the champion of the GT Academy back in 2015? What has he got to show on the race? He's got himself a great time at 29 point flat as well, as we see drivers coming in. Nightwalker, a promotion in the TS2 from the TS2 pre-qualifying up into third place, who's now actually dropped down to fourth because Jono Stan has actually come through. So times are flying, John, and I can't even keep up.
Yeah, I was trying to keep up and get Jono going across the line, and yeah, I missed out on that. Because here comes Rugworth, and he'll go to 6th place.
Sixth place. We want to keep an eye as well on Xylon 96. We want to know how his progress is going, because obviously as a championship leader you want to be up at the front with these guys. You want to be with these drivers that came from pre-qualifying drivers like John and Stan, Viper said, and Mint Matt. You want to have that experience and you want to learn from these guys as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a great opportunity to learn from some of these fast guys that you see at the top of the FIA races.
As we see John Stan still leading the way in first. What about Mint Matt? He might be able to come in for a pit stop, change his tyres, because he's actually on the soft tyres. He's qualified on the soft. So interesting strategies where drivers are deciding their tyre compounds within the first lap, within setting their first time lap. They're just deciding what tyres they're going to use for the race, and looks like we know Mint Matt's going to use the soft tyres for the first race, for the first stint.
Yeah, it looks like Duram's done the same here, and Jono's actually on the soft tyres as well, so that's a very impressive time.
This is very interesting. Like all these drivers on the soft tyres, I mean, even Broccolilli, well, he's on the super soft tyres, but he's still not able to get close to the drivers like down in 4th place. So as you see, Nightwalker across the line, he improves his time to 6th place. So the M&R boys have got a great driver in Nightwalker Racing, so he's doing himself really well. As we see Robbo move himself up into 7th. Well, that was eclipsed by Rugworth in 7th place. But again, once again, we still need to keep an eye on Xylon 96 later on, because he's definitely the one that we need to see. Because unfortunately, his teammate JMX is unable to join him tonight as a late withdrawal, so we've had to have top 6 drivers being promoted. As we see Viper said about to start his lap, so lead us through his lap, Jarman.
Just thought we'll go through Viper Z's lap first. So coming into turn 1, down into 2nd gear, back up through to 3rd and 4th, out nice and wide to carry that speed through turn 3. Nice sweeping right hand turn, then basically braking right at the bridge for turn 4. Again, letting it drift out wide a bit, just keeping that momentum going, and then a nice hard braking for turn number 5. A bit wide on the exit there, but I'm sure it's carrying some good speed through there, and this one's a tricky one. You sort of got to sacrifice a little bit just to get some good momentum going through there, but if you push too hard you can find yourself running wide. And obviously turn 9 flat out right-hander, and then the deep braking for turn 10.
He's gone purple by 2/10 over John Esten, but we do remind you that John Esten did set a lap on a soft tyre, so of course this is going to be a fast lap by Viper as he comes across the slowest section of the track, this weird chicane that the Spanish have put into place just for FIA safety. They're not using the wider circuit, but how does Viper said fare executing that corner? He does go pole position. Let's keep an eye on JMX. He wasn't that far behind him as well. So not JMX, Xylon 96, as he's coming across the line. What is he going to be able to do? Can he get himself up into the top position? No, only 8th place. So Xylon has only got one more lap to go, but so far not so good for the Toll Mash Buds racing driver in 8th place.
Yeah, he's certainly a little bit down the order compared to what we saw him at the start of the year, but I'm sure come race time he'll be very much mixing it up with everyone.
Absolutely. We did see Broccolilli as well jump himself up into 3rd place, so that's a great lap also by Broccolilli, being ahead of Mint Man as well. So we see John Stan and a few others are about to start their laps, so as time will come we see John Stan make a purple lap. So this is going to be a frantic session, just like in the Formula 1 in Q3 last night, Jarman.
Yeah, the times are going to be coming thick and fast here, and let's have a look. We've got Matt coming up to the final section of his time lap. This will be the last one for him. Let's see what kind of time he can put and whether this will elevate him up the order at all.
He's getting a bit of a punch in the hole, punch in the air hole with Highlander 215. But Vinmat doesn't improve. He improves his time, but he doesn't improve his position. But what about 5%? Can he get himself another faster lap? Can he set the benchmark even lower? He doesn't look like it, so he's going to be happy with first place. But I do remember seeing John O'Stan was on a PB lap and he was purple at some point. So we'll have to keep an eye on the Pisvaza entry in the 96. John O'Stan 96. Coming through to the final corner. Can he topple off Viperset? Can he get himself up on pole position? Can he make record? Can he make history? He does, but he doesn't improve. He doesn't improve his position. He stays second place. It looks like Viperset is going to stay in pole position. Is anyone right behind him getting any closer to him? I don't believe so, because I think all the front runners have made their moves, have played their cards. So unfortunately, what about this guy, Nightwalker? He's been showing he showed a great pace to scrape through in the top 6 in the pre-qualifying. How's he going to go? How's he going to fare coming up to the last corner? Is he going to get himself higher up the grid? Can maybe ahead in the top 8? No, he doesn't. So in the 10th place. So as qualifying ends, it is Viperset taking pole position ahead of John O'Stan in 2nd place. So that was a great qualifying by all drivers there. And Broccolilli, like I said, is showing great surprise, Jarman, so to be up in 3rd place.
Yeah, very strong performance from him again. He's shown plenty of speed in these Formula 2 cars, but Viper's Ed becoming the first driver to take 2 pole positions this year.
Yeah, well, that just shows the quality of Viperset and what he brings for the Satellite Racing team. As we see, the light's about to come on very soon. It is Viperset versus John O'Stan, a very familiar names that we've seen in the F2 and the TS2. Who's going to get the jump? As we see the lights go out and there's green flag racing. Who's going to get that jump? So Slayer at the back is spinning his wheels. He's going crazy. Luckily for him, he hasn't drifted the car wide, but it looks like it is John O'Stan that's going to pull out into the lead. And as we see down as well, Matt looks like he's going to make a move on Viperset. No, he doesn't. As we look down towards the back of the field, do they all execute turn 1 cleanly? Looks like they have. But leading the way up the front, it is John O'Stan with Viperset right behind, Mintman in 3rd. Broccolilli slots down into 4th place after losing 1 position. And Sir Slayer has actually got himself up into 5th place ahead of Taram, with Rugworth and Cylon 96 rounding up the top 8. So a very clean start by all drivers here, ladies and gentlemen. So we've had a good start, but hopefully we'll be able to keep it like this for the next 22 laps. Yeah. As you see a little bit of chaos about the back there, gentlemen. I do apologise for cutting off there. We see Cylon 96 actually dropped down the order. I'm not so sure how far he's dropped down, but it looks like he's dropped 1 position. So I believe Nightmare made a move on Zylon. He has, and he's done that very smoothly, very nice. So great move by Nightwalker. So great for him to promote himself up into 8th place. So Zylon actually been slowed down himself there. So what happened there? Wonder if he got a half-second penalty and must have burnt it off.
Yeah, let's have a bit of a look here. Maybe he ran a bit wide, got some aero wash coming out of turn 9. No, he got the penalty.
And he got a penalty as well, so he's doing the right thing, burning his penalty in the burn zone, but that's just, again, to promote him down to 11th, and it's not a great start for Cylon 96. He needs to work his way up the field.
Yeah, he certainly needs those points.
His nearest rival, Robbo Sport Racing, in 2nd place in the championship, is on the rise, and he is actually higher up than him by maybe a couple of positions. But those couple of positions, those extra points, will help Robbo and give him confidence later on in this race.
Yeah, it's basically a 6-point gap, so I think it's about 50 points between the two, so the series is definitely not over between those two by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, not wrong there. Then you have to factor in JMX and his drop rounds, and it'll be even closer as well. So one to keep an eye on, Cylon 96 to make sure he hasn't charged through, but still leading the way. It is John O'Stan 96, so it looks like we might be able to get, if the way it is, we might be able to get 5 winners from 5 different races, Jarman. So this would be a great stat for F2.
Yeah, it'd be very much like the 2012 F1 season, of course, which we mentioned earlier with the surprise winner of Maldonado, but I think it was like 7 different winners in the first 7 races.
Yeah, that is right. And even back in the early days of Trackstars Formula 2, back last year, we've had a few races where it was all different winners from round 1 all the way up to round 8, where then in the end we had likely Wiseacre, also known as SDRT Wiseacre, get a hat trick of victories within the end. So So it's definitely keeping up that reputation. But who's dropped out, Jarman? Is that Broccolilli? Did we just see Broccolilli jump out, ladies and gentlemen? He was running up high as the 4th place, but did he make a mistake and did he drop out? That's one we'll have to confirm later on, ladies and gentlemen. So unfortunately, I believe it is. So Broccolilli, who's been showing great pace in the qualifying and within these early stages of the race, is just disconnected. So this is amazing scenes, ladies and gentlemen. So this is not the first time that's happened to Broccolilli as well, Jarman. I believe you're on mute, Jarman, so you won't be able to answer back, but that's okay. But we're still leading the way. It is John O'Stan out the front, so regardless, we will have to, well, hopefully we get a hold of Broccolilli very soon and see what happened there. But John O'Stan still leads the way ahead of Viper's there with Mint Matt in 3rd. So Slayer has actually now been promoted up into 4th place. So this is a great showing. So when one ISR driver hasn't been able to deliver win Broccolilli, we have another one in Sir Slayer 1991 doing the world a good favour for ISR Racing in 4th place. So what was going to be a top 5 for that team is now only going to be one driver in the top 5.
Yeah, it's going to have a couple of drivers there, but unfortunately Broccolilli's dropped out, but at least Sir Slayer is still flying the flag for ISA Racing.
Exactly, so it says we only have Sir Slayer and Benjo GLR 19 as the 2 representatives of ISR Racing up in 4th and down in 14th place. While we look ahead in the second split, as I cut across from there, it is still Magical Wax, so even another ISR driver leading the way, and DJ Fabry in 3rd place, so that's a podium position for the ISR team. So they've recruited some great drivers, Jarman, the ISR Racing team, who've made their presence well known in Trackstars.
Yeah, there's definitely a few guys that have shown some speed from that team, and I'm sure as the team continues to grow in numbers, they'll continue to push each other and keep going faster and faster.
Exactly, and they will be learning a lot from drivers like Broccolilli and even Sir Slayer, who came through the ranks, came out of nowhere. I was a friend of Gaband's, and he just came through, and obviously his speed has been amazing. So unfortunately, there is Broccolilli that's just entered the lobby there. So what could have been for Broccolilli, unfortunately, he has to settle down for DNF, mechanical failure.
Yeah, very unfortunate for him, but I've got to commend him for actually jumping back in the lobby, because who knows, maybe 3 or 4 guys might have disconnected at once and you get a restart.
Sorry, cut you off there, Jarman. I did see a car slowing down there. Who was that? That was actually Sir Slayer, so he actually must have got himself a half-second penalty there as well, so he was burning his penalty off on the main straight, so he's just dropped down from 4th to 5th place. So that promotes Duran 50 in the CP Motorsports SF19 Honda in 4th place with Sir Slayer. Norm XC is the debuting driver as well in 6th place, with Nightwalker also on debut in 7th, with RoboSport in 8th place.
Yeah, so obviously Sir Slayer, one of the 4 debutants in the first split of this Trackstars Formula 2 series, so along with Mint Matt, Norm XC, who's right on the back of Sir Slayer, who's another one of the debutants. So the 4 new drivers are certainly showing their pace in this one.
Yeah, and even in the second split going on as well, we have Bjorn Borgs Undies, who's making his debut. We have Budsy76 making his debut, DJ Fabry, Warpath, SS Boy, SRF Han, so plenty of drivers coming through and giving the SF19s a crack here at Trackstars.
Yes, there's a good battle going on here. Norm looked like having a little look down the inside at turn 10 and then couldn't quite get the job done, but great battle going on between these 3 debutants for 5th place at the moment.
So great, so this is going to be a close battle to see, as we see RoboSport is actually catching up to this pack. So RoboSport with Rugworth right behind him, and Cylon in 10th place. So hopefully for Cylon, he's got a strategy up his plan, up in his arsenal, because he's going to need that to jump at least RoboSport and keep himself ahead of the championship.
Yeah, he definitely is going to need to do something here in this race, and yeah, we're getting to the point that pit stops may be starting to happen.
So we have approached the end of lap 5, so all drivers have done at least 5 laps on their set of compound tyres, so they can jump in whenever they want and put on some fresh boots and either go to the ends. But I believe doing 5 laps on the soft tyres and then doing, I would say, about 17 laps on the super softs, that might be a bit of a tall order. So as we see, Nightwalker almost made a move. He's thinking about making a move. Or Norm XC, does he make that stick? No, he doesn't. So the Nightwalker is going to be one to keep an eye on. But look at this, even Duran 50 hasn't managed to pull away from Sir Slayer. So Sir Slayer's not giving up.
No, he's definitely keeping that gap steady there between Duran and Sir Slayer. And it's sort of not one that Duran's getting away, and Sir Slayer's certainly keeping himself in that top 5 and probably extending his advantage a bit, while Norm XC and Nightwalker have a bit of a battle going on.
As we run you down through the order, it is John O'Stan, 96 for the Pizvaza entry in first place, and with Viper said actually right on the tail of him in second place, and with Mint Matt as well in the second entry of the Pizvaza entry in third place. So you can definitely tell top 3 drivers are top quality drivers here on Gran Turismo Sport.
Yeah, 3 very fast drivers, and of course Durama's very good on his day as well, so
exactly.
Definitely don't have a shortage of quality here.
Absolutely, and Duram 50 is definitely good in a touring car, as well as he's showing great pace in the SF19 Championship. So we'll leave it to you guys in the comments down below. Who's going to win this? Who's going to win this battle? Who's going to be the winner of the Spanish Grand Prix here at Trackstars Formula 2? Will it be John O'Stan, 5% on mid-mat? You guys can decide as we about to approach lap 8 of 22. And as we see in the second split, we're about 3 laps to go until the end, where it is actually Bjorn Borgundis has jumped into the lead ahead of Magical Whack, with DJ Fabry in third, Budsy in fourth, Warpath in fifth. As we see John O'Stan coming under pressure here from Viper said. Is Viper said going to go outside? He's going to go on the outside. John O'Stan covers the inside line. Who's going to be late on the brakes? It looks like it is Viper said as they go side by side through turn 1 and turn 2. But we're looking right behind. Mint Matt's going to want to catch in and get involved in this. But this is going to be helping Viper said and helping Mint Matt to close that gap towards John O'Stan. As we do know, Jarvan, that Catalunya is not a track for overtaking and great passes, but in the virtual world it is basically you can pass anywhere you want.
Yeah, it was a bit of a squirrely exit from John O'Stan there, but Viper's had certainly tried to make the most of it, but couldn't quite get the job done in the turn 1. But yeah, there's certainly plenty of overtaking opportunities here if you're ambitious enough, but of course at the end of the day you've got to make sure that you do it as clean as possible.
Viper said just ran a bit wide. Is he going to get himself a half-second penalty? No, he doesn't. So he's actually very fortunate to not get a half-second. He just went over the curbing there. So the GT gods play favour to him, and his attack on John O'Stan continues. But Matt has actually closed up on him massively. So the top 3 drivers in the pre-qualifying are top 3 in the TSF2 race, with led by John O'Stan, 96, 5%, and Mint Matt. But as we look down, that gap's opened up a bit. As we look down towards Sir Slayer, I wonder how his charge is going towards Duran 50. If he's actually closing up on him, it's still about the same, about 1.5. So unlucky for him. So he's going to be, I guess it's going to be all tyre strategy game now between these drivers and who goes where and what tyres they're going to jump on in the next step.
Yeah, I can imagine that these guys probably might go a little bit longer. I reckon they might try and extend it out to lap 14, 15, give themselves as fresh tyres as possible to make a huge charge at the end of the race.
Yeah, I can definitely agree on that. One of those drivers is going to make one of these guys drivers is going to pull the plug and do an undercut. I would say if I was one of them, I'd say probably Mint Matt would be the most likely to pull off an undercut, as we do know Mint Matt's pace, and obviously we did go through his accolades earlier in the broadcast with winning the 2015 GT Academy Championship and doing the Blancpain GT3 Cup in the Nissan GTR. So it's definitely one driver to keep an eye on if he does pull the pin first.
Yeah, he'll be in prime position, of course, because he is the last one out of the three to be going past pit lane, so he can wait and see everyone else drive past him and then pull the trigger and dive in himself and steal that undercut if he really wants to.
That's if he wants, but it looks like Viper said hasn't used really much overtake. But what about Jono Stan? I wonder if he's used. I wonder what their overtakes are looking like between Jono, Viper. Well, it looks like Jono's used up a fair bit, and Mint Matt as well. So Viper said so far in the overtake region is got the advantage over his competitors.
That's definitely right there. You have a bit to play with later on in the race should it start heating up.
Exactly. As we look up towards Split 2, we are approaching our final lap, ladies and gentlemen, in Split 2 in the Formula 2 region, where it is actually Bjorn Borgsundis that has led the way after his pit stop on lap 17. So he's done himself a great job to go from the back of the grid, Jarman, where he had some power specification problems from down in 8th place, and it's actually done an impressive last to first. So good, full credits to Bjorn.
Yeah, that's a great drive from Bjorn there, so hopefully that'll give him something to bank on in the future, and maybe he'll come back and hopefully get the specifications right and be able to put himself in the top split.
Exactly right. So definitely these guys will be able to keep themselves nice and tidy as he crosses the line with Magical Wax in second place, with DJ Fabry making an Ice R second and third place. So the team can be very happy with that performance, as Budsy right behind him is not giving up in his debut in the Total Mash Parts Racing. But unfortunately it's too little too late. As he's coming across the line, it is still DJ Fabry and Budsy 76 taking third and fourth place. As we do see the other toll car in Cylon 96 still behind Robo Sport and still in 10th place. So Cylon's going to have to think of something a little bit more ambitious to get himself anywhere closer to top 5.
Yeah, he's definitely closing the gap up on Robo Sport at this stage, so maybe there might be something up his sleeve in the pit stops, but looks like this front battle between these three is spread out a bit more now.
Looks like it has spread out, so I think that's like the classic Formula 1 where you close the gap on the driver that you want to overtake, and then you just pull back because the tyres have been overheating. So, well, Jono Stan's done a great job in that case, and he's actually extended his gap over Viper said, but maybe Viper said might be thinking about doing an overcut. Maybe he might do an extra lap or two on Jono Stan, saving tyres. So strategies will be flying around in the F2 camp, so we'll have to wait and see. As we see Bjorn Borgsundis take the checkered flag and confirmation that he has won Split 2 in the Formula 2.
Just want to get a bit of a look here at this battle between 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. It's starting to look a bit close between all these guys here. As Matt has pulled the trigger and gone for the undercut here.
So I called it there. So Matt has come through. He's done half distance on the soft tyres, so he might be able to make half distance on the super softs. That's Rugworth as well. Pulls into the pit lane as he gets his change of tyres. So has Robo Sport. So I wonder if Cylon has followed him as well. No, he hasn't. So Cylon stayed out. So he is going to be doing quite a long run, Cylon 96, and hopefully for him, can use up as much overtake as he can. If you see Matt abusing his overtake button because he wants to get right up into second place and even first.
Yeah, he's going to be hard on the overtake here on this lap. It's going to be a lot of time to gain if he can pull this off.
So we're going to have to keep an eye on his progress later on, but let's look up towards the front and see if either John and Stan or Viper Set are going to come make a move towards as they approach Sector 3, the Turn 9, Turn 10 complex, which is, this section is really horrible in real life, so I can't imagine these drivers executing that section off the track.
Yeah, it's definitely a very challenging section, but guys like Jono, Viper Z and Mint Matt certainly know their way around from plenty of laps around here, so I'm sure they've got it down pat. I think both of them have stayed out.
Oh, they have stayed out, so this is going to play wonders for Mint Map, but again, it's going to play wonders for Jono and Viper Z, with the freshest tyres, they're going to have 2 laps extra. But unless they stay out a little bit longer, they do need to have 5 laps on the super softs, ladies and gentlemen. So it's going to be time will tell between Jono Stan 96 and 5% on when they pull the plug. As we see Norm XC and Xylon 96 respond to their drivers making an undercut move in Robbo Sport and Ruckworth. So
yeah, let's see what happens here through these pit stops.
as he's coming through, Xylon and Norm X, so we'll have to wait and see how we go from there. As Xylon pulls into his pits, into the Toll Mashbaths Racing pits. Where is he going to come out? Is he going to come out ahead of Robbo Sport? Is he going to come out right behind him as we look towards him, cameraman? There is Robbo Sport. So again, he hasn't improved. He's closed the gap up a bit, but he hasn't closed up enough on Ruckworth.
No, he certainly hasn't. And definitely, the undercuts work well for Robbo Sport, I think, because I think he's gained a bit of time there on that one.
Looks like he has, but as we see Mint Matt. We did say Mint Matt was abusing the overtake button. Look how much he's used. So he's almost gone empty, and he really wants to catch up to Jono Stan and Viper Z. But it looks like, yeah, he's just about to run out. Unfortunately, he's going to go purple on this sector. But he's playing a fine game where he's running out, and then all of a sudden he's just going to have none left.
He's not going to have anything left to defend with come the end of the race if Jono Stan and Viper Z are right behind him.
As we see Duran, 50 and Nightwalker, these guys were close to each other in 4th and 5th place, so the battle in the midfield is going to be heating up for 4th place as we see Duran and Nightwalker make their moves. As yes, he does go purple, he does go fastest, but I'm not so sure if that's a wise strategy by Mint Matt to use all of the overtake within the space of 2 laps.
No, it's probably not the wisest move, but hey, it may work out for him. And one that may be using their overtake very soon is Duran 50, who's got a full tank of overtake.
Exactly, so he's popped in right behind, is that Norm XC?
Yeah, I think Norm XC has undercut Duran by looks of things.
So he has done the undercut on Duran, so Norm XC, who was down in 6th, has now promoted himself up into 5th place, and what will be in 3rd place, it would be 4th place for Norm XC, but Duran 50, if he knows a fast driver, will be keeping an eye on Norm XC. And whoops, looks like your capture card's gone again, Jarman. So
oh, no.
Bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. To get ourselves hopefully back on. There we are. Now we're back live. You've just called the right time. Jono Stan has come into the pit lane. So has Sir Slayer. So 5% looks like he's going to be staying out for one more lap, and he's going to get himself a bit of a lap extra on the super soft tyres. But what about Jono Stan and Mint Matt? Has Mint Matt been able to catch up? No, he hasn't. So he's actually right behind. So all that overtake, and he's right behind Devlin as well. So Devlin is holding him up massively, but that hasn't helped Mint Matt whatsoever.
No, Mint Matt certainly lost out from that one, and this is certainly putting Jono Stan in the box seat here because he's jumped in before Viper's head, so he's going to get the undercut over him and probably extend his margin a bit by the looks of things. So definitely putting Jono in the box seat to take out this race here tonight.
Is, and Mint Matt hasn't been able to close up, but like I've said, he's used up all of his overtakes, so all he's going to be praying now is Viper Z having a shocking in lap, and hopefully Mint Matt closes up using maybe the slipstream of Viper Z and Jono Stan, if he gets closer to Jono Stan, that is.
Yeah, you'd have to hope for the slipstream as Viper Z now comes into pit lane, so
oh, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the one that we have to keep an eye on. It is Viper Z for Satellite Racing, has just entered the pit lane. He's going to put on a fresh boot of Super Soft. So he's got one lap overcut on Jono Stan. So Viper Z's going to be in prime position when it comes to tyre wear. And Mint Matt's been on those tyres since lap 11. So Mint Matt's going to be under the hammer here when it comes to tyre temps and tyre pressures. But as we see Viper Z come out right behind, he is out behind Jono Stan, but is he ahead of Mint Matt? Oh, there is Mint Matt. He's going to go side by side with Mint Matt. But look at that. Benjo's in the way, and it's Mint Matt. He's actually caught up And he's taken second place ahead of Viper with Benjo getting out of the way. Perfect in timing there as Viper has lost position through the undercut. But look at that, he's got so much more overtake compared to Matt, who has none. So this is going to play wonders for Viper later on in the race, or if he can get the move done within the next couple of laps.
Yeah, fresher tyres, plenty of overtake. So I think Matt's probably going to be a bit of a sitting duck here, but of course Matt is a class driver, so who knows what he may be able to do, and he may be able to hold off Viper over these last 6 or 7 laps.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But it looks like he's just right behind him, and I don't think Matt's going to put up too much of a fight here, unless he does. Ooh, Viper getting close to Matt there. So this is all helping out John O'Stan build his gap, and he's actually increased it by I believe it was just over 2 seconds when John O'Stan pit, and now it's over 4.4. So John has done a great job in his entry in the 96.
Yeah, very, very well timed race from Jono, and he's out in front and cruising away by now, so barring any major catastrophes, it looks like Jono's going to be primed to take the win.
And Viper has just made it like a DRS move, but he's used an overtake button move on Matt, so Matt's got nothing left, so he's just going to be holding on to third place with no threat whatsoever from Duran 50, who looks like he did make a move on Norm XC, because Norm XC was out ahead of him. But we'll be keeping an eye on within the next 6 laps between Viper and Jono, and see if Viper can close the gap between himself and Jono Stan and even drag Matt with him.
Yeah, it's going to be a tall order in the last 5 laps, whether he can gain 4 seconds, but I mean, it could be possible, so we'll have to stay tuned on this one and see how the gaps play out.
So let's have a look down. Let's look down the order. Looks like as well, look at that, Nightwalkers actually looks like he's dropped down the order as well in 8th place. He was right up there with Norm XC in the pit stop, so unfortunately he's had a bit of a mistake there somewhere. Robo Sport in 9th place, in 10th place Cylon 96, in 11th place we have Highlander 215 in 11th, which I believe Mickey's is down into 12th place. And the 13th place will be rounded up by Benjo GLR 19. So it looks like Cylon's got himself right up close to Robo Sport. So the top 2 in the championship are 9th and 10th place, but this is definitely not where they want to be on track, with the likes of John Aston, Viper and Matt making all the progression in the world and taking their points.
Yeah, it looks like Robbo's run wide there, so that's opened the door for Xylon, but couldn't quite get a move done. So we've got a yellow flag here.
As we see a yellow flag, who is that, Jarman? It looks like it is Duran 50. That looks like he's made a big mistake. It looks like it is Duran 50. Oh, it's Duran 50. So I keep saying his name a fair bit. It is Duran 50. As we see a replay. Did he catch the bump? Oh, he has done. So no, Duran 50. That is so unlucky for the CP Motorsports entry, and it's just trying to get it back onto the track. It looks like he tried to do a flick spin, but no. Unfortunately, he didn't get the flick spin part right. So. Oh, that is so unfortunate for Duran 50. He shows great pace in TS2 and in F2, but is now actually promoted. Actually, see Cylon actually move himself up into 9th place, or 8th place, as it looks like he's going to make a simple move on Robo Sport down the air, down to the entry of turn 1. Yep, makes it clean. But Duran 50, Jarman, how is that possible? How did he make that mistake? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's easily done. I know at Interlagos I got a bit too heavy on the accelerator pedal on lap 1 and looped it around all on my own, so it can easily happen to you, and unfortunately for Duran, it's cost him a fair few spots at the late stage of this race.
Yes, very unfortunate. It was looking like to be a great result for Duran 50 in 4th place after what has been showing great performance in TS2, like I've mentioned, and now in TSF2. But unfortunately, one mistake can drop you back, and look at that, and he has dropped that far down the order in 10th place. So to look up I wonder who has inherited 4th place. I believe that might be Norm XC. It is Norm XC. So Slayer's going to be right up behind him in 5th place, with Rugworth has actually got himself up into 6th place. So it's a great performance by Rugworth as well, Jarman.
Yeah, and a very good performance for, well, the 5 or 6 pre-qualifying drivers that have come through.
Exactly. So Norm XC is in 4th place, and he's also he's going to be he's one of the debuting drivers as well. So in 4th place, doing a great job with Sir Slayer in 5th. I wonder if Sir Slayer is close to Rugworth, or maybe Rugworth's close to Nightwalk. I'm not too sure on that end.
It's a bit too spread out by the looks of things.
Okay.
It looks close on the map, but unfortunately it's more like a second gap.
Yeah, it's a lap traffic that's playing our heads with Bencher GLR 19th and 13th place, with his teammate Highlander 215 down in 11th. So 2 drivers outside the top 10, but looks like their elite driver in Sir Slayer, as Broccoli had a bit of a disconnect there, is in 5th place. So he's leading the way for the ISAR racing team, which was unfortunate for Broccoli, who could have been up there with Norm XC and possibly maybe with the top 3.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate mistake for him, but yeah. We look at Jono at the moment, and the gap's sort of stabilising a bit there. It's sort of hovering around the 3.8 to 4 second mark, so Jono's definitely cruising home by the looks of things.
And it looks like there's only 3 laps. It is 3 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. So Jono Sanders held on perfectly in his works, and he hasn't been pressured at all by 5%. He's only been pressured in the early stage, but he managed to hold off 5% perfectly, and he still inherits 1st place there. So unfortunately for 5%, is not able to take the lead in the early stages, and look what's happened.
Yeah, Jono certainly played this race perfectly and been able to control the gap to Viper Z, and then put his foot down as the pit stops came around and extended that margin perfectly.
So Jono Sanders is going to be rounding up those couple of chicanes 2 more times as we get himself 2 laps to go. Oh, as he gets a little bit squirrely there. You don't want that with 2 laps to go, Jarman.
No, definitely not.
That's a scary moment for Jono Sanders, but I'm pretty sure he's kind of used to pushing the car to the limit, as we did see in a few in his first race in at Interlagos last time out, where he was actually as high up. I think he was qualified in 2nd or 3rd place, and he just binned it within the first lap and dropped himself down as low as 13th in that race. So it's a bit of he's playing a bit of a risky game when he doesn't need to.
Yeah, very, very risky, but I mean, you've got to keep the speed up, I guess, and not relax too much.
And plus, he is an FIA driver, and he is a top quality driver. So what do we know, Jarman?
Yeah, he probably knows a lot better than us.
Exactly. As you see, as we looked down, so nothing's really changed in the order, unfortunately, with Duran 50 having his mistake. That would have been the closest battle, Duran 50 and Norm XC, but unfortunately for Duran 50, he's just having a bit of a caught up in an incident there on the final corner. Easily done, mind you, because that curbing is very harsh, even in the real world Formula 1, when they get onto that yellow curbing at the end of turn 16, it does catch drivers out. So, and unfortunately on this case, it called out Duran 50.
Yeah, it's definitely a very bad mistake there for him, but hopefully he'll bounce back in future rounds, and I'm sure he'll be putting the hard yards in a couple of weeks' time at Nürburgring.
But looking ahead to next week, we do bring you back to touring cars, as Jono Stan looks like he's pushing the boundaries. He's got himself a half second there, so he'll need to make sure he burns his penalty in the right spot, because unfortunately, Jarman, if you get yourself a penalty and you don't burn it in the right spot, it's 5 seconds. So hopefully Jono Stan's read the briefing, so we have to keep an eye on this, because the gap is 4.3.
Yeah, if he hasn't read the briefing and doesn't burn in the right spot, then this could be a costly mistake for him.
And this could give the victory to 5%. So hopefully Jono Stan can hear us on the TV. Jono, at the end of turn 9, burn your penalty right there. So hopefully he's done that as he comes around towards turn 9. Is he going to burn it off? He has done. So he's done a perfect job, Jono Stan. So well done. Top class there, Jono Stan, and you have deserved this victory. But look at that. It has closed up the gap between himself and 5% because of that penalty. But Jono Stan's done a brilliant job all race long. Hasn't put a foot wrong, hasn't made mistakes except for that last one. But for the Piss Files entry, 96, Jono Stan 96, Jarman, it's going to be an easy victory for the 96 entry.
Yeah, he's looks like he's cruising a bit, but hopefully he he can still hold off Viper's head because Viper's really closed in here.
As Jono said, rounds up the final corner. It is Jono Stan 96 taking the victory ahead of Viper Z in the satellite racing. So congratulations to Jono Stan, Viper and Mint Matt on debut. But obviously we can say debut, but we know he's a top quality driver. Mint Matt in third place. It's always a pleasure to have a driver like Mint Matt in the lobby in third, with Norm XC in fourth place, with Sir Slayer in fifth. I wonder if any of those gaps have closed down, if anyone made mistakes. Looks like he has, because Sir Slayer's right up his tail as well. So Sir Slayer on debut, fifth place, and Rugworth and Nightwalker. So the last couple of laps has been crazy. Everyone's closing each other up.
Yeah, not quite enough though.
Yeah, exactly. I think only one more lap, and I believe we would have had much of a greater race, greater end to the race. Oh, as Robbo Sport picks up a penalty on the last corner there. So very unfortunate for Robbo Sport, drops him down to 11th place there. So no chance at all for him to burn his penalty. With Mick East 1, 2, 3 in 12th place. Haven't talked much about Mick East because he's third in the championship, and he's been having a bit of a quiet race in 12th there.
Yeah, definitely a quiet race there, so not one we wanted to have, but I'm sure it still picks up plenty of points as we've got Benjo coming up to finish at the moment. He's going to have to get across the line the next. I don't think he's going to do it actually.
No, he's not. He's not going to make it. He just sent a message on the YouTube saying an abysmal for me. So very unlucky for Benjo and the team, but luckily his driver Sir Slayer has managed to pick up fifth place. So. And his drivers, Magical Wax and DJ Fabri, in second split. But nobody can stop this guy, Jono Stan 96. So we've got 5 from 5, Jarman. Can we possibly make it 6 from 6 next time out at Nürburgring?
Who knows? It's very much possible. I mean, the guys like Mint Matt coming through, and he could definitely be one to look out for. Maybe he could make it the 6th winner.
Well, who knows? Only time will tell. So as we look through the order, it is Jono Stan 96 taking line honours here at the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona. Jono Stan 96 in first with Viper Z, Mint Matt taking out the rest of the podium, with Norm XC missing out in fourth place, and Sir Slayer on debut for the ISR Racing in fifth place, with Rugworth in sixth, having a great performance for the VL Racing team in sixth place, with Nightwalker the first and the fastest M&R driver in seventh place, as championship leader Xylon 96 in eighth place. So for Xylon 96 needs to show some sort of sign and needs to show some sort of speed to be back in the top 5.
Yeah, definitely needs to start putting in some improved performances soon and hopefully get himself some more points.
As we look down, 9th place Duran 50. So what could have been for Duran 50? Unfortunately, a costly error with 4 laps to go at the end of turn 16 cost him big time. And what was looking a comfortable 4th place is down into a 9th place. So very unlucky for Duran 50 to be down in 9th, but could have shown much more potential in 4th place, with Highlander 215, the other ISR Racing, in 10th place. As we did see Robbo pick up a half-second penalty on the last corner there, so very unfortunate for Robbo. And Mickey's 1, 2, 3 down in 11th and 12th for the Robbo Sport Camp, with Benjo GLL 19 in 13th, as we see DNF's Devlin Calypso in the Speed Demon Racer and Broccoli in the ISR Racing down in 15th place. So on behalf of myself and Jarman Dell, it's Racing, we do thank you guys so much for tuning into the F2. Apologies for the delay start in the within the first few minutes of qualifying, but we did get it underway and we have got it under control. So Jarman, any final words for our F2 guys and for the main series?
No, I think I've covered it all, and I think we need to get going and set up for the main series.
Alright, boss, we'll do that for you. So on behalf of the F2 boys and myself and Jarman Dallas, we do wish you guys a good evening, have a good morning and a good afternoon. So stay tuned for Nismo 86's stream, who will be broadcasting the main series. But for all of us here in F2 and Trackstars,